and there's no need for a new power adapter.
All right, today is the day that we do the AMD live stream with their new graphics cards. They're fully unveiled. The RX 6900 XTX and the RX 6900 XT. Coming in at $1,000 for the top-end model and $900 for their lower-end model. Well, you know. So basically, this presentation has me kind of salty, but I'll break down that stuff more at the end. They're doing the new chiplet design, so they're having the GPU GCD be separate from the memory, and they're in like their own like chiplet design. They're using 5 nanometer and 6 nanometer for their GPU and memory, which is pretty cool. That's how they achieve their infinity cache bandwidth. Like I think it's like 4 times what it was before, or something. Which it's cool. It's cool. They show a lot of 8K FSR shenanigans in this presentation, which I didn't really care for. I don't really 8K. I don't even 4K. I don't really know anybody that does 8K anyway. Or yeah, so it's there. It's cool that it's there. You know, it can do it. At least with FSR, it can do it anyway. With 4K, they also lean a lot heavily on FSR as well. You're gonna notice that throughout their whole live stream, and pretty much all they talk about is FSR for most of their slots. They really like leaning on the FSR bandwagon right now. And for that, I'm not too crazy about that because it doesn't really show the performance. I would rather see the raw performance of the graphics card than having FSR be a leading factor on whether or not it hits these frame rate targets. Because FSR is not in every single game. And it will never be in every single game. It still only has, I think they have 200 games that support FSR. That is not every single game on Steam. So it's like you're getting a decent graphics card with FSR only with it on, which is kind of weird to be putting your full weight into that instead of the graphics card performance. That's already the first red flag already. But the stats of the graphics cards do look nice. You know, you get 24 gigabytes of memory. You get 20 gigabytes on the XT model. They look good, at least from the stat standpoint. You know, bandwidth and everything, power efficiency. It's not going to have 900 watts. It's only going to be 355 watts, and it's probably not even going to reach that. It's probably going to be about 320, 330 probably under a max load when you're playing a video game. That's super demanding. So cool stuff. You know, you don't want heaters in your computer when you're playing video games. Now, it does mention a lot of AV1. We are getting AV1 on these graphics cards. It has 6K. I don't know. Actually 8K decode and encode, which is very nice. I do like AV1. AV1 needs to be on everything so we can have better videos with less bandwidth and everything, and it looks the same. It's magic, and everyone needs to use it. So hopefully we'll get some more AV1 stuff announced. It is using DisplayPort 2.1, which is a big deal. Another like big deal that they love to talk about, because no one else has a DisplayPort 2.1. They're on 1.4, I believe. Even the 49 is on 1.4. So basically, from what I can gather from DisplayPort 2.1, is it can do 8K 240 and 4K 480 hertz, which I don't know any graphics card that I can actually do those kinds of things, but it can do that. I think it also has better like color grading. Like if you go on 1.4, if you go above a certain hertz, the color grading is worse. So with this, it'll be well within those hertz on your monitor. So the colors will be better. Honestly, I'm not really sure about the DisplayPort shenanigans, since No, nothing really uses DisplayPort 2.1, so I'm not really too caught up on it. But that's from what I understand the shenanigans that they're talking about. So yeah, the game clock is going to be 2.3 gigahertz, which is pretty good. They said the memory clock and game clock are two separate things. And one of the other slides, I don't know if I showed it on this video, they said the memory clock is 2.5, and the game clock is only going to be 2.3. At least this is on the XTX model. So since they're using chiplet design, they're able to have separate, more efficient clock speeds from what they kind of said in their slides, which is it's cool. It's cool. The size of the graphics card is pretty much like within reason. It is the same size as their RX 6950 XT. They're pretty. They made a whole like segment about that. So that's pretty cool. They did say in Apex Legends that it hits the frame rate cap of 300 FPS. They don't tell you the quality settings to hit that, but I mean, probably competitive settings, I would imagine. Overwatch, 600 FPS, Valorant, 800 FPS. So, pretty good stuff here. I don't really have a problem with all this stuff. It's nice, but they're not really giving us a whole lot about the graphics card. They're only showing a couple games, very few games, for this graphics card supposedly coming out in 2 months. Oh, I probably should have mentioned that it comes out on December 13th. I have that at the. I'll probably move that around in the video so you guys get the So the 13th of this year, it comes out. So now here's the graphics card slides where they do the frame rates and stuff. This is what I didn't like too much. They're leaning so heavily on FSR, which I get. That's their property. That's their their smoking gun. Their DLSS competitor is the FSR upscaler. But they're pretending. Well, I mean, maybe they're not pretending, but they're acting like that without FSR, it's not going to be anywhere near like competitive. Like it's not going to be anywhere near these frame rates. Like it really needs FSR to compete with the competitors or with the itself, with the other graphics cards that they came out with, which is really weird. It's really weird. You'll see in a lot of these slides, it's heavily leaned on the FSR, and they only talk about the FSR numbers. They don't talk about like how it is normally without it on. They also don't tell you which version of FSR they're using, because there's balanced, there's high performance, there's quality, there's max quality, I think. So there's different segments of FSR, and they never really tell you about that. Now going into ray tracing, they're even less confident about this part of the live stream. You'll see some FSR slides for ray tracing, and they are abysmal. Like the FSR is like 70% of the performance. So they'll have these like little like these cherry pick slides. Yeah, right here on screen. They'll have the cherry pick slides, and it's like maybe I don't know, like 10 FPS, 10 to 15 FPS increase without FSR, and then with FSR, it's like you get like above 60, 70, 80 FPS, whatever. But they lean on it very heavily. So I do not think you should buy these cards if you're trying to ray trace. From what I can gather from these slides, because if this is their cherry pick slides, like their best case scenario, and even then they still suck. Yeah. Apparently we were definitely wrong. We were definitely overestimating their capabilities. We were saying that maybe it'll reach 30 series ray tracing performance. No. It's definitely below that. Way below 30 series. If it needs FSR to even like get tangible performance. So, it is what it is. Ray tracing is becoming more and more of a thing in gaming. Eventually, AMD is gonna have to catch up and do something about it, or they're just not gonna be great for that. Which it's fine. It's fine. It's just it's a nothing burger, as they say. Now the AV1 stuff, they just talk about that slide. AV1 is great. Basically, AV1, you're able to encode and decode videos at lower bit rate and have better or the same quality as like native, or yeah. So for streaming, it's going to be amazing because you're going to be able to do 1440p stuff without using like 19,000 bit rate. And for gaming, well, I mean, it's not going to do anything for gaming. It's mainly just for video stuff, for streaming and stuff like that. Now, the price tags of it being $1,000 for the XTX and $900 for the XT, very good. So we'll see what you get for the performance. And I don't know, this whole video has me kind of riled up. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, you guys enjoy and do the whole YouTube algorithm stuff for me.